Today, we'll begin by having the deans introduce themselves to everyone. I have one question prepared for each dean, but we want to hear from you. So if you want to submit your questions, please direct your questions to the SAA chat, and we'll try to get to them all. Without further ado, we'd like to introduce our panelists. Deans, please introduce yourselves and share a little bit about the colleges that you have, that you oversee. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first. No, go ahead, Deborah. I'll just say welcome, everybody. I'm Dean Catherine Urich, and I'm the Dean of CNAS, which is the College of Natural and Agricultural Sciences, and very proud that Julie is associated with us. Dissertation soap rocks. So CNAS, just a little bit, we have 13 academic departments, from math and physical sciences to the life sciences to the agricultural sciences, which is nematology and entomology. We also have about 30,000 acres of the natural reserves where people can go out and learn more about nature. And as you drive through campus, you'll see that we have about about 1,000 acres of what we call ag ops. We're actually learn to grow food in the best way possible on campus. So again, I'm a chemist by training and an entrepreneur too in my past history. And so really looking forward to answering any questions today that you would have about CNAS.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Dean Deborah Dees, and I'm the Dean of the School of Medicine.
Yes, please continue, Dean.
And the School of Medicine, as you may already know, started in 2013. We've graduated 4 classes, and our students have matched into great residency programs all over the country. However, mostly in California, we have residency programs that have been started by the School of Medicine, and we have programs that are in partnership with some of our affiliates in the area. We have about 280 residents currently, and we have PhD students as well, about 25 PhD students in our biomedical sciences. So the School of Medicine has really grown over the last few years since it's started. We have a research enterprise, and we've grown in that area as well, and has developed several centers within the School of Medicine.
Okay. Hi, let me be sure I'm not muted. It looks
Very
good.
nice. Thank you, Dean Dees. And Dean Lynch.
Hi, I'm Dean Christopher Lynch. I'm the Dean of the Barnes College of Engineering. Engineering at UC Riverside covers almost all areas of engineering. We have bioengineering, chemical and environmental engineering, computer science, mechanical engineering, bioengineering. And we do a lot of work that crosses disciplines both within engineering and outside of engineering. We have a major center called CCERT. It's the Center for Environmental Research and Technology. CCERT is working very closely with the California Air Resources Board, that if you look at our campus on Iowa Street, just across the freeway, there's a $450 million investment being made in the CARB headquarters on our campus. This is all related to air pollution, monitoring ocean-going vessels, monitoring truck traffic in and out of ports, really looking at all of the environmental issues there. We also run a microgrid with battery storage technology and solar, tied in with Riverside Public Utility, where we're developing all the algorithms so that as clouds come by, panels are shaded, we can shift to storage without putting the kinds of spikes in the grid that can cause everybody's electricity to go out. So a lot of different aspects of engineering. One of our largest programs, however, is computer science. Computer science is in extraordinarily high demand. The demand has only grown with all of the shift to online that's happened under the pandemic. And our students across the board just do extraordinarily well in their careers. We are opening new programs to enable non-traditional students to move into these computer science fields, like our new data science program that we've established with CNES. So across the board, we're really looking to help our students launch careers, go out into the world and make a difference. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dean. We're going to move on to our questions. We have a few questions. One for some of them are tailored to a specific dean, some to all of the deans. Ooh. If you have any questions, though, please feel free to send your questions to the SAA question chat. We definitely want to hear from you, so please go ahead and submit your questions. Reading glasses, this is what happens when you get old. Students at UCR are adapting to the changes in education during this unprecedented time. Can you share what resources your college is providing for those students? And in addition to that, please share any tips that you have for your students that you're trying to navigate school in this altered format. So this is for all the deans, and whoever would like to go first, go ahead and unmute. You want to answer
Okay,
that?
I'll go first. In the School of Medicine, as elsewhere on campus, we've gone to online. However, in the School of Medicine, as you may well know, there are areas where we need to have clinical application. So for those areas, we have small groups where students do come in and we practice all of the public health precautions, such as wearing masks, social distancing, and hand washing. But with our online, we converted our classes to online, and we also converted our educational support services to online. We have online platform, including virtual tutoring, one-to-one tutoring. We've engaged in online small group sessions. We have virtual hours, office hours for tutoring. And we're also making changes where within the student schedule, we've instituted wellness days where we don't schedule any classes online or otherwise. And students are able to take that time to what we call taking care of themselves and catching up on things that they need to do, like appointments, doctor's appointments, and taking their clothes to the cleaners if the cleaners are open. I think they are. We also have fun things for them, like online, we have karaoke night and virtual card games. We also have, say, Mindful Mondays, where it's all about wellness, and we host wellness hours. And those are mandatory to make sure that students are really engaging in wellness. And we have wellness checks on all of our students. We have a wellness specialist, and she checks in on all of the students. So I'll stop there.
I'll go in next. We don't have anything as structured, just in CNAS. And so we have about 8,000 undergrads and close to 1,000 PhD students. So we are not as tightly knit as in the School of Medicine. I'd say generally how we've changed our resources, just for me, has to do with the concept of flexibility. So communicating to faculty members, communicating to staff, communicating to students, recognizing this is a once in a lifetime situation. And so we all need to be flexible. We all need to be creative in how we manage things. So with that flexibility, I've been encouraging faculty to hold virtual office hours. Having staff hold virtual office hours just gives students a different opportunity in order to connect. We are exploring a lot of different ways that we can deliver our instruction. I'd say with the lecture courses, we've been reasonably successful. The more difficult part is, and I'm sure this is in BCOE as well as School of Medicine, are the labs. So until we're able to get in the labs again, we are still holding them virtually. And I'd say that is the biggest struggle that we have, and we're still learning how to do that, and hopefully we'll be improving. So just this is difficult times. You know, you have to find other ways in order to connect with other people. So again, with the virtual office hours being flexible and having venues that students can connect is something that we've been working with our learning communities on too.
So in BCOE, very similar to what's happening in CNAS. All of you as students, we really understand the challenges of rapidly going from being in the classroom, having all your peers that you can work with, all the problem solving sessions, all the discussion, getting together and just being able to complain about your most annoying professor. We all had one. I had one when I was a student. I mean, that stuff's helpful. It really makes a difference. And now everybody's isolated and away, and we're trying to maintain these connections. I have been heavily involved in online programs in the past, and I'll tell you, online programs are very different from what we got thrown into with just throw it on Zoom and do it. We're calling that remote. This fall, with the help of Jennifer Brown's organization, Undergraduate Education, and the Excite team, our faculty are getting a lot of help and a lot of training in how to shift from this rapid remote to really doing better online courses. It is not trivial because it's both the faculty have to learn and all the students have to adjust, and we have to work together to try to give you the best possible learning opportunities and still get you set up for your careers, whether that's going to be going on to master's degrees or getting that first job. So we do have our laboratories open for the students that are local and want to come into the labs. We're capped at about 25%, but we're spreading them out through the day. We're offering some evening labs. These are really important. And if you can't go in, or you're more remote, or you're not comfortable going in, we're trying to have students in doing the labs in smaller numbers, paired with students that are remote who are as engaged as possible. You can watch a lab done on YouTube. Everything goes perfectly. You go into the lab and do it. You make mistakes and you learn from the mistakes. And these are the pieces that start getting missed when we throw everything online, and they're just incredibly important. So I have hopes. I mean, that we're going to be back on campus by the beginning of summer. I think I may be hoping a little too much, but with a vaccine coming, maybe fall or winter at the latest. We are looking in BCOE at setting up laboratory, like you've done these things online, but we'll set up 2 weeks of intensive, come in and we'll get you familiar with the equipment, we'll help you. So we're just trying to look for ways to give all the possible opportunities so that you'll be successful later on.
Thank you so much. That was very insightful. We have another question. This one is Dean Lynch, and it is: engineering is a broad discipline. Do you have any unsure of?
Julie, you're breaking up and I can't hear the question.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me repeat it. Engineering is a broad discipline. Do you have any advice for students who are
Okay, I got as far as engineering is a broad discipline, and do I have any advice? And I was given the questions in advance, so I know where you're going with this. Let me just go ahead and step in.
Engineering they should focus on.
Okay.
What area?
Let me repeat what I believe the question is and share with you. Look, I have been advising students in engineering since early in my career at Georgia Tech, all the way through UCLA and now at UC Riverside. And there are some things that you can be doing as students that we can be doing as faculty together that will really make a difference. One of the ones that I advise all students is, as you go through your undergraduate programs, think about building a resume concurrently with taking classes and building a transcript. If you're involved in student organizations, whether they're the more technical orientations like a Formula SAE building electric cars, or the more social oriented organizations like National Society of Black Engineers, Society of Hispanic Engineers, the honors societies like Tau Beta Pi, you're going to get organizational experience where you learn to come in, you can eventually become an officer, you can get into leadership positions. These will make your application to positions, whether it's in grad school or industry, really stand out. The other thing that you can do, we want you to succeed. We as faculty, we as leaders in the college, whether it's chairs or the dean, we want to write you letters of recommendation that are going to get you where you want to go. Now, for us to do that, it's really important that you not just come to my office hour, for example, when you have a question about a problem, but come in and spend a few extra minutes telling me what you do, what your interests are. Ask me if you might drop in quarterly or every 6 months and just give me updates so I get to know you. When it comes time for a letter, give me the bullet points of, hey, here are things that we discussed, here's what I'm doing, and help prime me to write a personal letter for you so that I've gotten to know you. And with confidence, I can say, here's a person who has taken on these leadership roles. I've talked to them, I've mentored them, I've seen them success, I've seen their drive to, move forward and succeed. And that will help us position you to launch the career that you want to go into. So our goal as faculty, chairs, deans, is for you to succeed. And we're here to help you get there. Help us do it, and we can do a better job at it.
Thank you very much. This one is for Dean Dees. You are a member of the Association of American Medical Colleges, as well as several other organizations. Why is it important for you to stay involved in all of these organizations, and how have they contributed to your career growth?
Okay, thank you. Yes, so for people that may not know, the Association of American Medical Colleges is an association of 152 medical schools in the United States as well as Canada. And I'm not only a member of that organization, but I am serving on the Council of Deans board for the organization. And I was really pleased when I looked at the numbers of people, students that are on this, at this conference, more than 75 students. And you participating in this organization will bode well for you also in the future. So I decided to be a part of organizations since I was a student, undergraduate student, as well as a medical student, because it gives you not only the opportunities for, as you put on the screen today, gaining knowledge, having opportunities for networking, having knowledge, increasing your knowledge in your specialty, the area that you're focusing on. And when I look at medicine, and this is true for all areas, it's really a team sport, and you can't go at it alone. You don't know everything. And there's so much out there that's floating around, so much knowledge, so many different ways of doing things. And it's not wise to always have to recreate the wheel. So you benefit from others. And I've used the organization in many ways to benefit, to give, to have a platform where I contribute and set the agenda, not just locally, but to set a national agenda. When I participate in these organizations, I learn things that I bring back to my medical school. And other deans say the same. They learn things and they take it back to their medical school. For example, when the pandemic hit, the Association of American Medical Colleges, our Council of Deans, we began having weekly meetings on Mondays. And there's a sharing of what's going on at the medical schools, how the medical schools are working together with this parent university for the pandemic. And so many things are talked about in those sessions that may give me the opportunity to say, well, I heard that this school is doing this. Why don't we try something new? It's an opportunity to innovate and to tweak things as you go along. So I would encourage you to be a part of various organizations. As Dean Lynch said, many of these things will be important on your application for whatever professional school you may be applying to, or even jobs that you're applying to. It certainly indicates that you've worked in groups, you've worked with people, you have interpersonal relationships, you know how to communicate, and you know how to work well with others.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. The next question is directed to Dean Urich. You are a first-generation college graduate that went on to get a doctorate degree. What advice would you give to the first-generation students pursuing STEM at UCR?
Thank you for that question, Julie. I'm going to start by saying, knowing what I know now, being a first-generation college student in retrospect was really hard. It was hard to, I think back to high school, it was hard to figure out if I should even go to college. It was hard to figure out the process of applying to college. It was hard to figure out what classes I should take. It was hard to balance, should I take 1, 2, or 3 jobs and balance that with going to school? Everything was harder, at the time, going through it. I thought, well, that's just what you do. But in retrospect, I wish I would. The advice that I would give to this group, our first generation students, is to ask questions. I'm a curious person by nature, and I think I ask a lot of questions, but I didn't ask a lot of questions, and I needed to learn more. So generally, I guess that's the first piece of advice I would give, because unfortunately, you don't know what you don't know. So connect with people. So to ask questions, you need people that you can ask questions of. I would suggest that you talk to your faculty, not just about classes, but just say, hey, how did you decide that you're going to be a professor? I would suggest that you reach out to your TAs and don't just say, okay, how do I do this experiment? Even if it's virtual, I'd reach out to them and say, how did you decide that you're going to go into engineering or chemistry or biology? I would reach out to the staff people on campus once you're getting back and just say, well, how did you decide that you're going to do this? And I think that telling and sharing stories is really powerful. So asking folks how they made the decisions, where they got, and you're going to get all different kinds of answers. And you're not going to know what the right path is for you. And I'll just, again, I'm going to use myself as an example of knowing where I am now. I would have never predicted this when I was 18 or 19 years old. What I did know is I was, again, getting back to curious. I always tried to do something that I feel like I was going to learn something and kept going. So another piece of advice for you guys is, I know it was a range from freshmen to seniors. It's okay if you don't know what you're going to do. It really is okay. And especially in this world, I think one of the critical thing is to keep learning, to be curious, keep trying to make yourself better, because by making yourself better, you're also going to help your family. And that's really important for us first generation folks, because by rising ourselves up, we're going to rise our family around us and our communities too. The last piece of advice I want to give is, I know it's kind of hard to do right now, but you should be thinking about it, is joining a lab. Joining a research lab, whether it's computational, heck, it could be washing glassware, it could be looking out for rats, it could be collecting plant samples, it could be doing anything. The fact that you're getting into lab is going to expose you, getting back to ask questions and build a network, is going to expose you to different people coming from different walks of life, having different decisions. And again, everybody's going to do it differently. And the more you know about what your options are, I think the better decision you're going to make for yourself in the near term and then long term. So think about joining a lab. From the time that you're a freshman to the time that you're a senior, it's never too late, because you're going to learn something. And that's going to be the key. So you're in a university system, take the opportunity and learn to learn. And use that, getting back to asking questions, networking, join a lab, and you may end up joining a lab that you love, or you may end up joining a lab that you hate. But if you hate it and you're like, I really don't like organic chemistry, it's not what I need to do, you're learning something. So you're learning, that is going to help you in the end. So everything, I'd embrace the change and embrace the opportunity, because the university is a very unique situation in your life where you're going to have the opportunity to embrace things in a lot of different ways. I can go on with a lot more advice, but I'm going to stop here, Julie.
Oh, that was just wonderful. I really wish that I had heard that advice when I was a freshman at UCR. That was very relatable and appreciated. At this point, we're going to open up. We have some preset questions, but we actually received quite a few questions through our chat, which is exciting. These are directly from the students. So I'm going to go ahead and open these up to, some of these questions are directed to all the deans and some to a specific dean. So the first question is directed at Dean Lynch. You mentioned that you're opening up opportunities for non-traditional students in computer science. I would like to hear more about this. What are these opportunities and what type of additional support are they providing?
Let me talk a little bit about the data science program and how this originated. There's a group called CEWIT. It's the Center for Enhancing Women in Technology. And it's run by a woman named Belway at San Jose State, who has put together a number of companies, including Salesforce and others, to build data science programs. The data science programs are intended to give students who might be studying biology or the other sciences a pathway to where they can get enough of the programming and the data science that they can segue into Silicon Valley careers, where we have far too few women and minorities. And we're trying, even the companies in the Silicon Valley are trying to address this. But if you look at our computer science programs, they're white and Asian men, mostly. And we may have 15, 20% women, but that should be half. So part of the premise is, if we can go to the community colleges and recruit into programs like data science from students who have been studying biology, where we find, it's a good, hard science, but it's predominantly women. We can get a path where a lot of the women are now getting the training that they're going to have this career option. It doesn't mean they'll necessarily go that way, but they'll have the opportunity to go into these Silicon Valley careers. It's a brand new program. We're in the final stages of approvals. We're admitting our first class fall 2021. But we anticipate that that program is going to grow and really create a lot of opportunities. So it's exciting to be part of this, and I really appreciate the participation of CNAS with their statistics department, contributing in a really big way to help reach out to a much broader group of students.
Thank you. That was very informative. The next question is for Dean Dees. What kind of students stand out the most during the School of Medicine application process?
That's a very good question. And I would say that it's probably different than what people might think. Traditionally, when individuals are applying to medical school, we think about the traditional science major. And across the country, that has changed. We really look for the well-rounded student. You can have a major in science, but you could come with a major in humanities. However, you have to take the sciences so that you're prepared for medical school. So we encourage students to find things that they really love and enjoy other than science, because the rest of your life is going to be in sciences. So if you're interested in art, go and do art and also get your sciences. We also look for students who are, as I stated before, who've worked in groups and worked with others. And students usually show that through various organizations. They show it through volunteer experiences where they may be volunteering at a free clinic, volunteering at a homeless shelter, but they're engaged in service, serving others and serving the community. We would like students who may show that when they have free time, they're engaged in extracurricular activities, even if they're in sports. Students who play varsity sports, we know that those students are team players, they're multitaskers, they know how to lose and keep going, all of those things. And we have what's called a holistic admission process. We do look at your grades, but it's not all about grades. We do look at the MCAT score. It's not all about that. And so those two parts of the total criteria, they count, but they're not all of the criteria. So having the extracurricular activities, having the volunteer experience, the research experience, getting involved in your community, we're looking for all of those things. Speaking another language, that's important, but if you don't, it's not used against you either. So sort of a well-rounded individual.
Thank you very much. Next question is directed towards Dean Lynch. What are your long-term goals for the Bournes College of Engineering, and what aspects are you looking to grow or expand?
So some of the long-term goals are just 3 or 4 years out. Longer term, look, as a university, we're going to be a university for the next 200 years and beyond. This is a long-term institution that we each in these leadership roles get to contribute a little bit, but it will just continue growing over time. Reputation will grow. Everything about it will just keep going up. So I'm really trying to build that trajectory for engineer for the future, much longer term. But a little bit more near term, we're putting together programs that cross engineering disciplines. We have a robotics program that's in the approval process now that has brought in the Department of Mechanical Engineering with sort of all the mechanics and machines of robots, electrical engineering with computer engineering, which kind of crosses into computer science, where they bring in all what they call embedded systems, which is the interface of hardware and software and how you build things onto chips so that they can be remote but still think. And we're bringing in computer science with all the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, and the computer vision. We're going to see more and more automation as we move into the future. And it's not just we're going to replace people with robots in restaurants and warehouses. We're going to see automated highways where we can track vehicles and we can look at how to keep the traffic moving in a way that we don't have trucks sitting for hours emitting pollutants. We can keep everybody moving. So the smart highways are going to be a big piece of this. We're really building the capacity to enable our students to go out and make a difference in the world. And there are some really big problems faced by society. Engineers are going to be a big part of solving those problems and making the world a better place.
Thank you very much. Great answer. The next question is to all the deans. The question is, how do non-traditional students with families remain competitive with traditional students who have more time and flexibility to be active in organizations and internships? Who would like to go first?
Well, I was a non-traditional student when I went to medical school. Married a 3-year-old child, and I had worked for several years in research, and those were unique things that I brought that distinguished me from the traditional medical student, who was entering. So when I stated earlier that we look at all of these other things, we do look at the non-traditional student. Here's someone, a woman that's married and has a 3-year-old, and she's able to get to the point of application and wants to go to medical school. She comes with other experiences, such as having worked in the past, so she knows what it's like in the workplace, and she's been exposed to working with others and interacting with others. So it's not all cut and dry. We look at those things as strengths as well. So that's how I would say you're competitive in the application process. But I also would say that once you enter medical school as a non-traditional student, I found that as a non-traditional student, I was more parsimonious with my time in terms of I knew exactly what I needed to get done because I had other responsibilities. So I didn't waste a lot of time. And therefore, things that I did, they had to be meaningful. And I had to get those things done and be able to leave to spend time with my family. I thought that being a non-traditional, I was more focused and more goal-directed. So in areas where you think it's not, you don't have the strength, if you look a little deeper, you recognize that those are strengths that you really bring to the table as well.
That was such a great answer. Who would like to go next?
Can I follow up on that? So
Yeah.
I guess when I'm thinking about non-traditional students, I would say this is something you should embrace. So thinking it was Veterans Day on Wednesday. So if you're a veteran, if you're coming in, you've gone through a certain type of rigor, you've gone through a certain type of training, you bring that with you to the program that is unique to you that nobody else has. If you're working a job or if you're a parent, managing your children's schedule, managing PTA meeting, managing all that stuff, you bring unique experiences that nobody else has. And that helps you be prepared. I mean, one thing, not necessarily as an undergrad, but as you go on to medical school or professional degrees, or certainly a PhD, any type of advancement, or even going into industry, what is going to be key is the fact that things are going to be thrown at you and you're not going to know what the answer is. And that ability to adapt and reflect, if you come from an experience, whether a parent or single parent or a vet or working to all these kind of things, and to me show that you're able to adapt, you're flexible, you're creative, and you're going to be able to handle all the different things that are coming to you. So for full disclosure, when I'm looking for somebody in my lab or somebody I want to hire, I'm looking for people from non-traditional backgrounds, because I know that they have it, because it takes a certain level of something to get through that and not do it the traditional way. So I'd end up with, I think that if it's non-traditional, you should embrace that and spend some time recognizing how that makes you different and bring those differences to the fore.
So I want to just comment on this. This is one of the great appeals to me of UC Riverside. Most of our students are not traditional. We are not a wealthy community surrounded by Beverly Hills and Bel Air, and everybody. Well, you had a choice of going to UCLA or USC. $60,000 a year tuition was irrelevant. You just go wherever you want. Everything's covered. Spend your time studying, socializing. That's not UCR. I mean, we are a community of students who are here to work together, to learn to be team members. There are non-traditional backgrounds that can be more challenging. We have a lot of students on Pell Grants or First and Family. We have a lot of students who are working weekends so that they can send money to their families or living at home and commuting to the school. Those are time constraints. Those are time challenges. It takes a lot of time management, and sometimes family is going to take priority. And, I could share my own experience of working full-time all the way through master's and PhD. At the same time, my wife went to law school and we had 3 children. It can be done. You sometimes question, are you crazy? Why am I doing this? But it is worth it. When you get out the other end, the knowledge gained will be with you forever. The opportunities that it opens up will forever be there. But I'll tell you, for some of you that are having to work while juggling classes and exams and everything else, it's hard. We get it. This is where the learning communities really matter. This is where having networks of friends matters. This is where having, and I would say having the confidence go to office hours, but that's the wrong way to put it. Having the understanding that those office hours are there for you. We are paying our faculty to be there to help you. You're paying for it through your tuition. It's exercising and understanding it's your right to have office hours and have help and have TAs helping you with your classes. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way. And I think the non-traditional background can make you feel like, wow, I'm not really sure if I should go because I don't understand this. Well, if you understood it, you wouldn't need to go. It's, the advice is ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask a question because you don't know. The reason you don't know is you haven't seen it yet, or it hasn't been explained yet, or you don't have the right resource. Answering that question can get you there in 10 or 15 minutes, that if you did it on your own, it's 3 or 4 hours. Take the shorter path, right? And understand that we're there for you, and we're really trying to help you get there quickly and efficiently. So.
Wow, thank you very much. These are very powerful responses and relatable. I was a single mom getting through grad school as well, so great responses. We have one last question for everyone today. These are directed towards all the deans. How can we reach out to you during this time and ask more questions? We'll just be wrapping this up in a few minutes, but we want to see if we can get a response from all 3 of you.
Sure.
Sorry, go ahead.
Whoever would like to go first.
You can email me at, I see Catherine just put hers in the chat. I'll do that. It's deborah.dees@medsch.ucr.edu. So I'll put that in the chat. That would be the best way.
So yeah, I jumped the gun. Send me an email. Because I'd love to hear from you guys. We are here to support you, as the other deans were saying. We're interested. We've been through this. We know what it's like. So we're not going to know what all the answers are, but we can find out what those answers are. And please send us an email, and we'll help in whatever way we can.
So I'm going to add to that. It's not just us answering your questions. When I was a professor, I had my students in my class all the time, and we talk about things, and I hear what's going on. And then as a chair, okay, well, I'm still teaching some. I'm not in the classroom now. I meet with student organizations, but I'm even more isolated in this remote environment. By your emailing me and talking to me or sharing with me what's going on and how things are in your department and the kinds of help you need, it also helps me better understand things that we should more broadly be doing to help all of our students in BCOE. So don't ever hesitate to reach out. And I appreciate the emails no matter what the issues are, and it helps me build a bigger picture of the student experience within our college. So yeah, please do feel free to reach out, and know that it's welcome.
I agree.
Okay, thank you. That's all that we have time for the Dean's panel this morning. So on behalf of the UCR Alumni Association and Student Alumni Association, we want to thank you all for coming out, especially to the deans. Thank you for your advice and your kind words. I know that your advice has been very beneficial, just even from personal experience. So we'll be transitioning next to our session, and I'm going to be handing this over back to the SAA. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you.